Tony Dungy coached the Tampa Bay Bucks for 6 years, brought them to respectability, then went to Indianapolis and led the Colts to a Super Bowl victory following the 2006 season. And then Tony decided to wrap it up, joins our crew. We're going to amortize Tony right now by putting him to work before the regular season. Great to see you. What's it like to have, or do you have, training camp withdrawal right now?
No, I really don't. I haven't had a twinge at all, Al, and it's been fun being with the family and getting to do some things, speak to the youth around the Tampa area, and work on some projects that I enjoy.
Let me ask you one question. Is this a retirement or a sabbatical?
No, it really is a retirement. I think I'm moving on to other things and looking forward to it.
Kick is run back by Jason McCourty. Let's talk about the Michael Vick situation, Tony, because you're involved in it. Roger Goodell saying a couple of weeks ago that Michael was cleared to play with any team. He can participate in preseason workouts, meetings, and practices, play in the final 2 preseason games. Full reinstatement will be decided by week 6 or about mid-October at the latest. And Tony Dungy has been brought in to mentor him. So right now, Michael Vick is not in anybody's camp. He has not been signed by anybody. He's back in Virginia. Tony, you visit with him and you talk to him a lot as Patrick Ramsey gets come into the game at quarterback, and the pass is incomplete. Where is Michael right now? Where is he mentally? Where is he physically? And what do you think is going to happen down the line here?
Michael is in a pretty good state mentally. The thing that he really wanted to do was get back and connect with his kids. His youngest daughter was 1 month old when he went into prison, and he really feels like he missed most of her life so far. So that's the number one thing to him. But he wants to play football. He misses the game. He misses being in the locker room, all those things, and he's excited about getting back.
What was the process? Who decided? Did you volunteer to be the mentor? What happened with that?
Well, his attorney is actually from my wife's hometown, and Billy Martin asked me to go in and visit with him about a month before he was to be released. And we kind of struck up a long conversation, talked about what it would be like, and we had kind of agreed to stay in touch and be together. And then when he met with the commissioner, I think that came up, and Roger asked me if I would do it on a formal basis, and it was something I wanted to do anyway, so I'm excited about it.
So what's the definition of mentoring Vick right now? How much do you see him, and how much will you be involved in this process, and to what degree, and for how long?
Well, I'm going to be involved for a while, and I think a lot of that will depend on the team that he goes to and how quick he gets hooked up. But we talk quite a bit. We text back and forth quite a bit. When he has a question about what's going on, decisions he's got to make, he gives me a call. I give him a call just to check in on him. So it's one of those things. We will meet face-to-face a couple times during the fall, but I'm really hoping that he gets with the team pretty quick. I think that may happen. He's talked to several teams and has some teams interested.
Do the teams call you to talk to him, or how does that work?
Well, I've talked to quite a few coaches who have just wanted to get my take on where he is and what his thought process is and kind of my read on it. And then it's a matter of the coach talking to the ownership, and everybody's going to have to be on the same page. But I think something may happen here pretty shortly.
Why do you think that teams are so hesitant? Obviously, everything that he's been through. But does it also create a tough situation for whoever the starting quarterback is on a particular franchise? Because let's face it, if you see Mike Vick in an exhibition game and you go, wow, and the fans want to see more, it does put pressure on that quarterback.
I don't think so much it's going to put pressure on the starting quarterback, but what's going to happen, the organization, it's going to be a distraction, and as a head coach, as an owner, you don't want a distraction coming into your team. So it's got to be an organizational decision that here's a guy that can help us, and he's going to come along slowly. I think that was part of the whole process of the commissioner wanting that time frame to give him some adjustment, that he's not coming in playing right away, but he's going to ease into the situation.
There's being in shape, and then there's being in shape to play football. Where is he?
I'm not sure about that part of it. He's been 2 years away from the game. He hadn't really been able to work out, and that's part of the process too. But he's excited about playing, and he just wants to get back with the team and be part of the scene again.
2 years in Leavenworth, and I think that most people would say enough's enough. But you've got the flip side of that, and that it's not necessarily about Mike Vick right now. I mean, the National Football League has to protect its image a little bit as well. He did lie to the commissioner about what had happened. Is this one of those situations where maybe it's better for him to take a 4-game, a 5-game suspension, whatever the case may be, get it all behind him, not face all the protests? At least then they see some punishment from the league.
Well, I think the league has punished him, and you have to look at it. This guy's missed 2 years of his career, so he has paid the penalty from the legal system. I think the commissioner is satisfied where he is, and right now it's just a matter of him getting back and getting in the right spot, and I think that's what the country is all about. Second chances for people who really have paid the penalty and are remorseful, and I think he is.
When you talk to Mike, what was it like? I mean, you spoke to him in Leavenworth, right? You go in there, and I know that's part of what you've wanted to do, prison ministries and talking to young men in those situations. But when you first walked in there, what was it like?
I've been, Chris, in a lot of prisons, and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of young guys just like Mike Vick who made mistakes as young people. And that's where he was. He said, I have made a mistake. I want to get myself back together and get going. Some of the things that I took for granted, I realize now that I've got to change and do things differently. And he wants to be a role model. He wants to accept that responsibility, and I think he's going to do a great job.
Patrick Ramsey leading this drive. That's Javon Ringer, number 21, a fellow we talked about earlier. Jared Cook, who Chris had mentioned earlier, also involved in this drive, making a reception. You said you think something's going to happen. Are you going to say in the next week or so, Tony, and then he'll have the opportunity to get into a camp and play in the last 2 preseason games?
I think that's what's going to happen. He's talked to several teams. We've kicked around different scenarios and different people that are interested. He wants to get back, and I just pray that somebody's going to give him an opportunity. I just feel it's going to come pretty quick here.
Would it be correct to assume, and I'm going to assume at this point, in some situations, I think a coach might look at it one way and say, boy, I would really like to have this guy. He'd help our team. And on the other side, you might have an owner who says, wait a minute, I have a lot of other things I've got to think about, the community and the rest and the franchise and the reputation. Is that happening?
I think that is the case. And I know when I was coaching and you talk about someone who had legal problems or off-field problems, I always wanted to look that guy in the eye, find out if I really believed in him and if he was going to fit well in our locker room. And if that was the case, then I was willing to take a chance. And I think that's where a lot of people are.
Tony, how would you use him? Would you bring him in and be the wildcat guy? And we've heard all the speculation about that. Or are you still of the opinion that this guy could be a starting quarterback and an effective starting quarterback in the National Football League?
I think you do that. I think you bring him in with the idea that he's going to be your backup quarterback. He's going to learn everything that you do, but the advantage to having him is that while he's learning and growing in your system, he can come in for 4 or 5 plays a la Ronnie Brown and create some havoc that people have to deal with.